After years of historic deficits, this 110th Congress will commit itself to a higher standard. Pay as you go, no new deficit spending.
My fear is that the Tea Party gets a charismatic leader, because all they're selling is fear and anger.
Right.
And that's all Hitler sold. I'm angry and I'm frightened, and you should hate that guy over there.
Right.
Blue Monday, how I hate Blue Monday. Got to work like a slave all day.
Pelosi's skirt is on fire from her lies. That was her in 07 saying there'd be no new deficit spending. Of course, she spent $5 trillion. And there was a fat slob from Hollywood on a Maniac show on HBO who, he's a seltzer boy, let's put it that way. Rob Reiner is another boy from Brooklyn, another one of the Brooklyn boys, the Larry David crowd, let us put it to you that way, the boys who grew up in communist socialist households, for whom behind every American is a Nazi uniform. He's frightened, Rob Reiner. Play that again so in case they missed it. Wait, before you play it, I want you to listen to the paranoid mind of a fat slob from Hollywood who sees a Nazi behind every American in the Tea Party movement. Listen to the pathology of this lunatic.
My fear is that the Tea Party gets a charismatic leader, because all they're selling is fear and anger.
Right.
And that's all Hitler sold. I'm angry and I'm frightened, and you should hate that guy over there.
Right.
So he's selling hate, and he's saying that anyone in the Tea Party is selling hate. And the drug addict is saying yes, yes, yes to him. And behind every American, there is a Nazi to this slob. Ladies and gentlemen, I could go on and on about the madness of liberalism. I've been trying to prove to you for years that liberalism is, in fact, a mental disorder. I don't think I need to prove it to you anymore. We have about 1 week left to cast Obama and his crooks into oblivion. We have 1 week left to convince your neighbor to cast Obama and his gang into political oblivion. Do you hear what I just said to you? Now, let me turn to Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter's on a book tour where his book isn't selling. I don't know what he wrote, something about how wonderful he is. And Jimmy Carter's had one bookstore after another, hundreds of bookstores. And in every speech, he says, America hasn't improved much over the past 3 decades, Jimmy Carter says. He says, we had almost complete harmony with every nation on earth, said the communist, Nobel Peace Prize, Communist Prize winner. He said, we not only preserved peace for our country, we never went to war. We never dropped a bomb. We never fired a missile. Well, of course, that's why there was peace, because you basically turned America into the world's patsy. And that's because you've been a lifetime Jew-hating communist. And you're the one, Jimmy Carter. You are the one who freed Ayatollah Khomeini from exile in Paris. You are the one who disseminated radical Islam throughout the world. So don't give us your double talk. You know, go drink your strychnine and wave your snakes over your head. And don't give us that crap. Maybe you could sell it in Salt Lake City, but you can't sell it on the Savage Nation. Now, why am I bringing up Hollywood and Jimmy Carter and the left-wing establishment under Obama? Because they're all part and parcel of the same cabal. They're all part and parcel of the same paranoid, corrupt left. We have only a week to go. Many of you paid no attention to politics until now. You were too busy watching baseball or what, I don't know, whatever ordinary people do. Or maybe there's a wisdom in not paying much attention to the lying world of politicians. I don't really know. I do it for a living, so to me it's my lifeblood at this point. But I will tell you, I have never been a supporter of the Republican Party. Let me make it perfectly clear. Michael Savage established the center in radio before others even knew what the center was. Most of the so-called conservatives in the radio have always been water carriers for the Republican Party. I have never trusted the Republicans. I still don't trust them. But I trust them more than the dirty Democrats. The dirty Democrats are the worst, lowest crooks in American history. This gang under Obama is the most dangerous gang America has ever seen. It's gone off the ken of acceptability. I filled out my absentee ballot here in San Francisco yesterday. And do you know what I did for the first time in my life? There are so many ballot measures in California, I couldn't keep up with them. And I do this for a living. The only one I was aware of was the legalized marijuana issue, which I voted against. I'm against legalizing marijuana, by the way. But you know what I did with regard to every candidate? I filled in the R in every box. I figured, look, they're a gang of crooks like the rest of them. But at least I have a fighting chance with the R's, with no chance whatsoever, owing to the fact that the government media complex, i.e. the newspapers and TV, will always cover for the Democrat thieves and always attack the Republicans. So I checked all R's for the first time in my life. We have 1 week left to cast Obama and his crooks into political oblivion. How do you do it? I would think that the majority of people listening to this show have made up their minds. They pretty much are in accord with the polls, the way people are going. Most of them want to throw Obama out. They know he's a fraud. They know he was put in by very powerful foreign interests as well as very powerful domestic interests. And they know he's totally inept and absolutely unqualified for this office. To 100th percentile, he is the worst and most divisive president in American history. He has almost turned this country back to the age of the Civil War with his racial and other divisiveness. There is no question that most Americans see through him. But the question is, what about the other Americans who see nothing? How do you convince them about the danger we are in and how we must get rid of the Democrats under Obama? How do you do that? Are you going to be able to talk to them? You know the Democrats and lifetime liberals don't converse. You know that their minds are made up. You know that they're bigots. You know that they're full of hatred. You know that they assume that they're smarter than you and that they're more reasonable than you. But I played for you a soundbite by a man named Rob Reiner, a big fat buffalo frog from Hollywood, a buffo of the worst order who's produced some of the worst dreck Hollywood's ever seen. You know what crowd he's from? The Mel Brooks, Brooklyn wise guy crowd. They think they know more than everybody on earth. The type that create shows that, let us say, denigrate Jesus. The type of people who produce shows where every American who ever wore a uniform for America is considered a Nazi. You know the type I'm talking about. A lifetime group of yellow-bellied turncoat backstabbers. And yet they think that Obama is their savior. How are you going to convince them? The answer is don't bother. Do not bother talking to the lifetime brainwashed true believers. I'm appealing to you to go out this week and talk to a neighbor or don't say a word. Do it silently. Yes, I'm going to tell you how to do it because I spent over a year planning it. I'm asking you. I'm begging you. You have a week, and I'll stop after this week, but not until the election is over.